Hi. Citygate's mission is to see lives transformed every day across this beautiful bay where we live, by which we mean lives being transformed to become disciples of Jesus and disciple-making disciples. Now the question might be, well, how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to do that by listening to Jesus in his word, by his spirit and through his body, and doing whatever he tells us to do. That's what it means to be a disciple. Now, one of the ways we want to enable that to happen so that we can grow as disciples and disciple-making disciples is to form smaller units where there can be a greater depth and intentionality to that process. Now then, every now and again I play golf, not amazingly, but I play golf, I don't know, half a dozen times a year. You'd never play golf with only one club. See, the idea with golf is that you have different situations that require different clubs to play different shots. So for example, you might have a driver and knock it off the tee. You might then find the ball in the fairway or in the rough and you take an iron for your next shot. Hopefully you get to the green where you take a putter to hopefully end up with the ball in the hole. You'd never dream of taking one club around a golf course. That would be utterly ridiculous. There's a sense in which that's a sort of analogy for life in community as a disciple of Jesus. You see, we have different settings that, if you like, help to achieve different things on this journey. So you have Sunday meetings where the church gathers, there's worship and teaching and community in a big setting, and you get certain things from that. Then you might have a smaller setting, a small group, a life group in our context. And that's really useful for other things that the bigger setting can't really give you. And then there might be a very small setting, and that would add to what you get out of the other two settings as we're on this journey together. Very small settings, which we would call DNA groups. That's what it's like to follow Jesus in community. Different settings helping us to keep going along this journey. So these DNA groups that we're starting are going to be made up of 2, 3, 4 people, single sex groups, quite likely from within your life group, but not necessarily. And they're going to meet fortnightly alongside life groups. And they're crucially going to be peer-to-peer groups. Friends meeting up to encourage each other in following Jesus and becoming more like him and helping the process of being those on mission to make disciples. We're trying to become like Jesus, who in essence was the one who loved God passionately and loved others sacrificially. DNA groups are going to help us with that process. So material is going to be provided via our website, essentially based around conversations, where two parts really. You're going to ask each other, how are you getting on? How is life going? Including following up on what you said last time. So it might be that a DNA group has met and someone said, I'm just really struggling at work with this issue or this person. Well, the next time you meet, you would follow up on how's it going? You're going to ask lots of questions about how we're doing. And then secondly, you're going to ask questions about a Bible passage. There'll be a passage to read each time, and there's going to be a set of questions to ask about that Bible passage. We're trying to do life in community. We're trying to do some depth, some intentional depth to life in community with these groups based around conversation. All the while, of course, encouraging each other to take action on whatever God is saying to us and helping us to obey that, including being engaged in his mission. Who is it that God has put you near, who he's wanting to reach through you? Who are you sharing your life story with? We're disciples who are becoming disciple-making disciples. It's really, really important. Now, these groups are designed to be helpful for everyone, anyone. From someone who's been a Christian for decades, who's been in all sorts of small groups before, right through to someone who is not yet a Christian but is interested and intrigued. So these small groups should really help us, because the goal is the same, to be made disciples, and disciple-making disciples should be useful for anyone wherever they are, from a Christian for many years to someone who's not yet decided to trust in Jesus. Now, I wouldn't anticipate that you'd be in the same DNA group for life, which is probably a good thing, you'll be thinking. it's quite possible that as time goes by, your group will change, because hopefully you'll benefit from your group and you'll find that it will replicate, it will multiply. Maybe some new people come to the church and it feels like they might fit relationally. Well, the group can only be up to 4 people, so it's going to have to multiply to perhaps make a new group. Or perhaps even more excitingly, maybe you've got a friend who's curious about your faith and you think, I wonder how I can help him understand something about this. And the idea might be to invite him or her into this setting, because they'll experience life in community and what you're doing to help you become and grow as a follower of Jesus. That will be massively helpful too. Now, it's going to take time to engage us all in this, but DNA groups are kicking off as we seek to be followers of Jesus together. I really believe this has the potential to do what Hebrews 11 verse 24 tells us. Consider how we may spur one another on towards love and good deeds. What a great goal. Let's engage with DNA and find ourselves following Jesus even more intentionally. There's loads more information on the DNA section of our website, so please feel free to look there.